Welcome along to this weekend edition of What's the Word in the Racing Post studios here. I'm joined by Hayley O'Connor of Ladbrokes and Brendan Duke of the Racing Post to preview the weekend's racing both in the UK, Ireland and of course the Breeders' Cup. And later we will be talking to Kieran Fallon, our special guest, about his new book and his fancies in Del Mar. But let's crack on. We have a new season. National season really underway now. Last day of the Flash on Nace on Sunday. Give us one horse to follow.
I'm going to have a look in the 12:45 at Down Royal on Saturday. There's a horse that was impressive. It's a 3-year-old hurdle. He's owned by JP, trained by Gavin Cromwell, and his name, you'd be able to say this better than me, is Espoir d'Alan.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, there we go. I got it right. He won on his debut, and I'm going to keep an eye on him because I think he could be exciting and I think he could progress really nicely.
Could go all the way to the triumph.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not uncommon for 3-4-year-olds to run up a sequence. Okay, so there you have it. Gavin Cromwell, JP. Why did you pronounce it? Espoir de what?
Espoir d'Alan.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. Brendan, what's your horse to follow over a cliff?
Not nearly as dark as Hayley's, but Might Bite. I'm just going to back Might Bite in every race.
The grey horse?
No, he's a bay horse.
Okay.
He won the Sunline.
That's right, I remember. Like he went all over the track. Yeah.
Because
he's with Nicky Henderson.
He is, and the reason he was able to do that is because he's a super freak. He's a super freak.
He's about 20 hands tall.
Yes, he is. I've seen him in the flesh, actually. I was at Cheltenham that day. He is a big unit, and he's just getting it all together mentally. Now, the 3-year-old chase division arguably has never been deeper, certainly in my memory anyway, than it is this year, but I still think he's got
the 3-mile chase division.
3 miles.
And King George, is that his main target?
I was hoping he was going
to be a very hot race this year.
Indeed, I was hoping he was going to go for the million. He was going to go fair chase, but it looks like they're going for a graduation chase instead. But he win the King George, and then win the Gold Cup.
Okay, let's hope Sizing John beats him. But anyway, let's turn to Weatherby first of all. We have 2 races. The 240, which is a long-distance hurdle, the Bet 365 hurdle race at 240, and of course we have the Charlie Hall Chase. The favourite, quite hot favourite, now a lot of these are having their season debut, Lil Rockerfella. What price?
He's about 6-4. I'm not keen on him. If it was me, I'd lay him all day. I just think he hasn't won since February 2016, and although he's put in some very good placed efforts, I just like to see a horse that gets his nose in front the odd time.
Okay. What do you like?
I really like Holstone. So he ran very well last time. He was a beaten favourite, granted, but he was 4th, and the race turned into a bit of a slog.
This was at Chepstow,
yeah. He's just got that thing that I like. He's honest. He tries his heart out, and I think he's going to be sharper this time round with that bit of race fitness.
And of course, Nigel Twiston-Davies had a treble at Cheltenham last weekend, so the horses are on fire, and he probably improved for the Chepstow run.
Absolutely.
I know someone who backed him each way at 6-1 yesterday, and now there's 7 runners, so he still gets the 3 places. What do you like in the race?
I could see the argument for Holstone. I just couldn't get away from the numbers. He's rated a stone below Little Rockefeller, and he has to give him £3. Little Rockefeller ran really well in this race last year, but he wasn't suited by conditions. He had a penalty. I think 6-4. It's not very imaginative, but I think it'd be very hard to beat.
You haven't alluded to Paul Nicholls has 2 in the race. Last year's winner, Silsal, and Petit Sig.
Absolutely, it's just Silsal again.
Hasn't run since.
And he was getting, I think it was £9 off the Rockefeller last year, and now he has to give him weight.
Plus, Petit Sig is one of those really inconsistent horses, isn't he?
He is a little, yeah.
You couldn't depend on him.
No.
Okay, let's turn to the first Grade 1, or first top chase of the season. Q-Card disappointed in this last year, Hayley. It's joint 5-2 favourites thereabouts. Coney Gree, destroyed him one time, or the 2015 Gold Cup, was it, and all that kind of good stuff. Could you trust either of them?
I think if you're going to take a chance, Cooney deserves more of a chance than Q-Card. Q-Card, I know apparently at home he's bouncing, he's in the form of his life, but you know, he's fallen in 2 Gold Cups. I've kind of given up on him at this stage. Like, lovely public horse.
So you're ageist about
I'm
Q-Card.
totally ageist about him, yeah.
Okay.
But actually, I should therefore be ageist about Cooney, but he just has less miles on the clock, even though he's only a year younger than him. But I thought that race, that Punchestown Gold Cup last season, where he came third, that was a phenomenal race. It was one of my favourite races last time, and he put in a top performance. If he can improve on that, he's going to be high in the mix this year. Obviously, as you said, you can't just, Nigel Twiston-Davies has his 2, and Black Lion 4th when we last saw him running in the Grand National, and Bristol to Mai. He'd need
an extra. He was a big improver last season.
Big improver. He'd need some juice.
Sometimes soft, deep ground.
Yes, yeah, that was my worry, that he'd need that bit of juice and ground. Actually, juice would help Cooney as well, but I'm going to stick with the
okay, you like Coney Green.
Yeah.
Okay, you're prepared to give him another chance. Nico de Boinville writes, it's much more than a 2-horse race, this, Brendan.
It is. Well, Bristol on his day, and it's currently soft ground with a little bit of rain around, so it should be soft ground, which I think is good for everyone. But yes, Bristol on his day is a dangerous horse. It's just a hard horse to catch.
A little bit of word about Definitely Red.
Yeah, he's been backed.
Yeah.
12
states.
You can see he's an up-and-comer, so yeah, I can see why people would be interested in him. But like Haley, I really enjoyed that Punchestown Gold Cup last year, and funny enough, the ground didn't help Conegry that day. It was spring ground, and he made a couple of uncharacteristic jumping errors, and if he hadn't have made those mistakes, I think he'd have won. It was a massive run. Again, he gets £6 from Q-Card here. He's well suited by the conditions.
Is this a prep race for the Haydock race?
It could be, but I think when you're talking about a horse like him, he's made of glass. Waterford Crystal.
Yeah.
He is made of glass.
Shatters easily.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But I think what you'd have to do is you'd have to have him fairly straight for almost all his runs, because it could be his last run, couldn't it?
Yeah. Any run could be his last run. So on balance, you're going for Conegry.
I'm going for Conegry. I think Eddie's going for
Conegry. Yeah. Okay. Okay. There are 8 runners in this. I just think that I'd take a chance a little bit each way on Definitely Red. Let's move to Down Royal, their biggest day of the year. We're going to feature 2 races in our discussion, and let's start with the first Grade 1 of the season, the chase here. Arduke beat all before him. You have the inside story. Jesse Harrington's stable, not really on fire at the present time, I would submit. How ready will Arduke be for this assignment?
Well, I haven't been down the yard in ages, but I think from the comments that Jessica made in the Racing Post stable tour a couple of days ago, you know, she seemed to be really looking forward to him, and the Cooper family that bred him, you know, were very tactical last year, not bringing him to Cheltenham, and he just put in an amazing performance in the Irish Grand National, and to do that as
from
young,
the front.
from the front. I mean, it was a sublime performance. So I think we're in for a massive treat. I don't know whether he's going to need the run. I just amn't sure of backing him at the price that he is, which is a shade odds on. Yeah, it's not really tempting me too much. I'd prefer to go for something like Lieutenant who won a Grade 2 at Down Royal, which is I love this meeting. It's one of my favourite meetings of the year. Henry de Bromhead will probably have him on point, but you can't discount Road to Respect either, who Noel Meade always bangs out the winners at this festival, and Road to Respect is a quality horse.
Okay, Road to Respect, I remember when he couldn't win a maiden hurdle with Owen Griffin, and he seems to have really stepped up as a chaser. Second season chaser, how good is he? Like, this is a top race.
It is a top race, and he did win in Punchestown.
That was very strange what happened that day. That was brilliant tactics from Danny Mullins. Do you remember?
It was a curious race. He jumped a little bit out to his left, Road to Respect. I think he might be a better horse going left-handed, but he showed a lot of heart to get up. He's an honest horse, and he is improving, but he'll have to go some to beat this Arduke. I mean, you can get flattering ratings and handicaps, obviously. I'm not sure he's worth 167, but he's clearly a very good horse, and his jumping improved no end. Every run last year, his jumping improved. I expect another improved performance here, and he should be good enough.
There's a dead 8 if there was an each-way fancy beyond the favourite. What do you think? Like, I'm looking at Alpha des Opal. Good run in the
very good in Limerick National second. That was a very good performance
against a handicap lot.
For a place, because he doesn't win that often, Alpha des Opal, but he's a good horse.
So you're saying really trust the favourite. Does Robbie Power ride?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. So he'd make all and probably win our Dukes. We have then the next race, the 305, which is a grade 2. My car needs a .com steeplechase. Should you look beyond Disco?
No. No, I really like Disco. I think he's a really, he's got an attitude that I really like. I mean, I looked at Never Rush Khan because I rode him once or twice a couple of years ago, so for affectionate reasons. But he's really improved. He's gone up 10 pounds though from his Galway win. So I put a line through then. Woodland Opera, Tracy Piggott rides him out at home. He had a brilliant year last year, but whether he's, you know, what he's going to turn out to be this year kind of remains to be seen.
So Disco for you?
Disco for me, sorry.
Gigginstown had 6 declared during the week. They're mob-handed here. Disco?
I just at the prices. Disco's 11 to 8 and Atwa Phil is 4 to 1. Disco has to give him £2. Atwa Phil, bang fit, good performance in beating Balco to Flow and Goran, giving Balco to Flow weight. I didn't think there should be such a gap between the bit of betting. I would chance Atwa Phil.
Okay, again, dead 8, so?
No, lovely each way.
Yeah, bet to nothing, you think?
I think so.
Okay, well, on our Racing Post, What's the Word, with Ladbrokes, in conjunction with Ladbrokes, we're going to take a break now, and we're going to be joined by Kieran Fallon, who has his new autobiography out. It's called Form. We'll be speaking to him about that and previewing the Breeders' Cup. But one horse for Saturday for both of you.
I've already mentioned Espoir Dalan, but in the Breeders' Cup, I'm going to go for Decorated Night.
There was just the 330 Lord Glitters, who you remember came from basically last to first to win the handicap at Ascot. I think the handicap suit him best. He's inclined to be a bit keen. I think he might make the market for Bravo Zolo, who's has a good record fresh and is tactically versatile. And I think we get a nice price, Bravo Zolo in the 330 Newmarket.
Okay.
How did your tip get on last week?
Barrow second, very close. There's no expert. Bet of the autumn, Highland Reel up next. Welcome back to the Racing Post studio here with What's the Word. For the weekend, we have a special treat for you. Kieran Fallon has come over to us from Newmarket, and we're going to talk about not only the Breeders' Cup, but his fabulous autobiography that's out now called Form. Kieran, you're most welcome. People buying this in the Racing Post shop online will know a lot about your time with Stout, with Ballydoyle and Henry Cecil and so on. Is there anything in the book that they won't know about you? Are you off the track?
No, in particular, because mostly it's always out there, you know, when you're in the public.
It's a racing book?
It's a racing book, but there's a lot of other stuff in there as well. When you're in the public eye, a lot of it's going to be out there, but I think what a lot of people won't realise what happened in the Old Bailey, why I ended up there for 9 weeks and then getting acquitted.
Right. We're going to preview 3 races at the tail end of the Breeders' Cup. We're going to start with the Turf Mile. The betting is, broadly speaking, Ribchester, top rated in Europe, around the 3 to 1 shot. Derek and Smith and the gang all have roly-poly 6 or 7 to 1. The best is probably the Woodbine winner, World Approval, and Lancaster Bombers in there. What catches your eye there?
Well, the one thing, Mark Cassidy, I mean, he's an unbelievable trainer. He is like the Aidan O'Brien in America now. He started in Canada and he dominated and still does dominate, and he started to work his way down to America, and he's very, very much a big player now, and in the Breeders' Cups as well. You know, Johnny Velasquez.
You'd favour him?
I'd favour him. Johnny Velasquez. He won't have to travel too far either. You know, he'd have been mapped out for this race, whereas the likes of Ribchester wouldn't have been, I think, as a second thought, you know. Yes,
and he said alongside Brendan Duke of our own parish here in the Racing Post. What do you fancy?
I think I'm being talked out of back in Ribchester. You were saying last week, and Kieran mentioned it there, with the long season he's had, and it's more the draw. I've been talking to my spies in America, and even by American turf track standards, Del Mar's a really tight track. So to be drawn 10, I think it's going to take a worldie of a ride. If Buick actually wanted to watch a template to do this, you could watch Frankie last year on Queen's Trust, who somehow managed from a wide draw to get 2 off.
If not Ribchester, who?
I'll go with that World Approval.
Okay. Yeah. We'll pass over the juvenile. I'm told Bolt Doro, 2 wins at Del Mar, Really great time at Santa Anita last time. We want to go to the turf race. Now, for a lot of people, Kieran, you spoke about Highland Reel. He is the banker for a lot of people. I spoke to Aidan recently. He was really pleased with the run on soft ground at Ascot. Didn't suit him, stayed on to be third. He's 100% ready. He's on Lasix. Some question about Ulysses. It's 10-1 bar 2. What do you like?
I was surprised that Ulysses wasn't on Lasix, you know, because I think it's very important, you know. Obviously, Sir Michael, you know, is a genius. He knows what he's doing. But and he probably thinks that he's not going to benefit from the Lasix. But as you can see, Highland Reel, what he done last year was amazing. And the style of his racing, if he's allowed to do what he done last year, he'll take all the beating.
Would you oppose him?
You couldn't oppose him. If Ryan rides him the way Shamey rides him, I think it'd be hard to beat. I think Shamey gets the right tune out of this horse. It was fantastic what happened last year. And with the Lasix, he's a serious horse. He'll suit the track because it's a sharp track, and if he's not going to make the running, he's going to be handy, and that's the key to the race.
Is he opposable, Brendan?
I will oppose him. I think Ulysses, even without the Lasix, he's got a good draw. There should be some competition for the lead for Highland Reel. The Oscar Performance, who's drawn 14, he'll have to go forward from that draw. So I'd say Ulysses, who's sat much handier in the arc than he normally does, will sit handier, sit 4th or 5th, stalk, and hopefully pounce in the straight.
Okay, despite Brendan, I'm telling you, Highland Reel has it won already. Let's turn to the Classic. Not such a strong representation for Europe here. Now, Gunrunner is the 2's favourite. He's run 3 times over 10 furlongs. He's lost each time. There's a question about his stamina here. Arrogate, superstar last year, the way he wore down the front runner. What do you like?
Yeah. Well, if Churchill, okay, I don't know, is he on Lasix? Is Churchill on Lasix?
I assume so. I assume so.
If he does, he's a serious horse. Arrogate hasn't been in the same form. As you said, Gunrunner isn't his best trip, but he's at the top of his game. But, you mean, Churchill was always held in high regard by the Coolmore team. And if he's on Lasix...
Has he been a bit disappointing since Ascot?
He has, but it's like everything else, you know. Aidan has that gift. He'll be able to... He can take him back. If he can get him back to his best, and with I think the Lasix will make a big difference for this horse. He could be a different horse in Del Mar.
Okay. Bob Baffert has 3 of the first 4 in the betting. He has the best rated 3-year-old West Coast, and he has collected who beat Arrogate. What do you fancy?
I fancy Gunrunner. I think Arrogate is worth his rating as the best horse in the world, but it looks like Dubai bottomed him. Because, as Kieran said, from his time in America, gate speed's so important. It was such a massive run in Dubai. Blew the start, had to run down Gunrunner, who's the 2nd best horse in America, but it looks like it's taken a savage toll on him, and I don't think he'll be the same horse. So Gunrunner would be very hard to beat.
That concludes our Racing Post special video cast. Our thanks to Kieran Fallon. And remember, tomorrow at 12:30 in Easton's here in O'Connell Street, Kieran will be doing a signing. So why not pop along, buy a book, and meet Kieran then. Good luck with your punting this weekend and at the Breeders' Cup, both at Naas and Cork at the weekend. Enjoy it all.